Well, good morning and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Heavyweights podcast. I'm Ashton Hines, one half of the Real Estate Heavyweights. If you don't know me, you probably know me. Most of the people who listen have listened before, but that's okay. We're going to speak it into existence. And for the 30,000 new listeners we have this week, my name is Ashton Hines. I've been in the real estate business for almost 5 years. Long story short, I was a full-time physical therapist assistant for a little over about 10 years, doing home health all over Dallas, driving all over nooks and crannies, seeing old people when they got back from the hospital for whatever reason, surgeries or emphysema or whatever it was, and I'm helping them get better. And then at some point, I decided to get into real estate because I've been thinking about it since my junior year in college after I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I jumped with both feet. I flipped a small house, little bitty flip, and then I did another little bitty flip, and then I said, I got this game licked and figured out, and I went all in on a big one. And that's when my life started to crumble, and I needed help, and I reached out to a friend I had been keeping track of on Facebook for a long, long time, Tavis Westbrook. He's been 20 years in the game. He's got over 200 flips. He's got multiple rentals, including midterm, long-term, and a commercial building that we spent some time at yesterday. And he's got a new commercial building come online over in Terrell, which we're going to talk about a little bit today. And he's here with us. Hello, Tavis.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for the
buenos dias.
long-winded introduction.
Well, every once in a while we got to do the full. We got to do the full one.
Plus 100 episodes. So
100. This will be number 108.
For you brand new people that are joining today, yes, we are here. Ashton Hines and Tavis Westbrook.
And I have a horrible memory, so for me, that was like the third time I've ever said that. So,
yeah, maybe so.
Well, yesterday we spent all day together. We had a really great time. You have a commercial building down in Garland that we've talked about. You renovated it, and you did a great job turning it around. You got some really good tenants, but one of the tenants that was already there was Texas Select Boxing, and that's a really cool little boxing gym. It's the real deal. I mean, you walk in, there's pictures of the owners with Errol Spence and some of the, royalty of Dallas boxing. And I think the wife is an Olympic level boxer trainer. And I mean, it's the real deal, but this is little sort of end cap space. I don't know how many square feet it is. You do, but 1,200 square feet, and
the ring barely fits in there.
The ring barely fits in there. Yeah, it's kind of a mini ring, and which is kind of common in some of those gyms. They just kind of get the feel for the ropes. And
I think it's a full size ring. It's just it looks small because it's so big.
We make it look really small whenever we're in there. They on purpose do not care if the air conditioning works, which is great from a landlord standpoint, because we were in there and these I don't know, late teen, early 20-year-old guys are in there boxing, and they got a kids class going, and and then there's Tavis and I over there taking pictures, glam shots in the ring for the Real Estate Heavyweights podcast and some website stuff that we're working on, and you've got a connection with a really cool artist, a photographer, a videographer. Jonathan, what's his last name?
Odyssey.
And you've got a lot of his art in your house and in your midterm rentals. You choose to put his art in there. So.
Yeah, he's very talented.
Really cool. He came out and he shot some photos, and so we will be putting those out.
Odyssey Media.
Yeah, he was really a lot of fun. So after that, we actually went to go look at. We stopped for lunch at a really cool lakeside Tex-Mex place over in a place you've never been to before, over on Lake Ray Hubbard, and it was really cool. There's a lot of lake restaurants, so you just don't know they're just tucked right there. Yeah. Lake Ray Hubbard. It looked like the ocean. It was a little rough out there yesterday.
Food was okay. The view was excellent.
Okay.
Yeah. The view was excellent. It was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool.
We'll put that on.
And then drove on down to Cedar Creek.
Food was okay. View was great. Then we went over to Cedar Creek, and so Tavis does some design work, and it's not his main deal, but oftentimes people reach out, especially people who've worked with you before and want you to design a project. And so you've done several projects over on Cedar Creek Lake. And so this one was coming to completion, and you wanted to go check it out. And well, there was another one that we might have been able to look at, but it fell apart on our way there. And so we go to see this. And if you're not familiar with Cedar Creek Lake, what does that take us to get down there? A little over an hour and a half.
Hour and 15 from Plano.
And if you don't know which way to go, you put your nose up to the wind and try to smell meth, and just walk that way. You just go that way. And you get in this, it's like Malakoff, and what are those other towns over there?
Gun Barrel City.
Gun Barrel City. That's where we were.
Yeah.
In all fairness, it's not all that way, but it is the Wild West of zoning, where it's very typical. You have a commercial building, and then a trailer park, and then a church, and then a neighborhood, and then a $4 million house right on the lake. And then there's another trailer park.
Rental place.
Yeah, storage places, and then a boat repair place. And it's so chaotic as far as the zoning, and some of that stuff has been there since 1963, and it was probably a cool little lake bungalow for somebody, and it's just degraded since then. But there are a lot of interesting characters riding around on bikes. We went into the gas station, and there was a fellow that was choosing to challenge the no shirt, no shoes, no service policy with no shirt. It looks like he hadn't worn a shirt in a while. But loving life and showing off his tattoos. But we found our way into a cool little neighborhood where you did this design project, and it was beautiful. And this builder that Bud, he's done several projects with you, and cool guy, really laid back guy. He has to be laid back because we also ran into the designer while we were there, and the energy coming from the designer and Bud were like polar opposites. It was just, Bud is the most he just seems like the calmest. I don't know that you could get him fired up. And this designer was coming with level 10.5 energy, and it was very passive aggressive. She was wanting to do her job. She was wanting Bud to clean up all the paint cans, and I think there was a big party they're trying to plan for. So everyone kind of has these timelines, and it was like Bud, you couldn't get his blood pressure above 95/52. And this lady
seems
was trying.
Unfazed, didn't he?
Oh man, he was just like, okay, yeah, we got it. And we just walked around the house. Really beautiful house. It was a custom house. I don't know how long they lived there, but you could tell it was a kind of a family house that they had had for a long time. And they've piecemealed it together, but not in a cheap way. Like there's really custom work done in multiple phases, and you helped
the main house he bought already
right?
Renovated.
Okay.
And it was just a 1-story.
Mm-hmm.
And he had bought it already done a couple years ago. Then he put the pool in. So I don't know how long he's owned it. It's been, probably less than 5 years. If I had to guess.
There's probably not a lot of lake houses that have pools. I would think that that's a fairly rare thing out there.
Yeah. And he, like really I said, cool. He put the pool in. So he did that. And then they got to talking about doing this expansion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the expansion looked beautiful. We took some video. We'll put it out. But talk about the main things you did is you expanded the house a little bit. You developed a primary suite, an owner's suite and bathroom, and then this upstairs office / bungalow room. But really, it's going to be what do they call it? Like a she castle or something like that. I don't know, a she cave. Or something. But it's for the office area for the wife, and it was super unique and cool. But talk about the design and how you did that extension there.
Yeah, and I was just thinking back to timeline. I think it was October 23 when I first walked that job. So, excuse me. Once we walked the job, back in October 23, then it gets to pen and paper and designing and coming up with ideas. And originally it was just a master or primary. I have such a hard time saying the correct word.
I'll edit it out so we don't get letters.
Yeah, right. So it was an expansion just to basically add that new suite on the backside of the house. And you couldn't really punch out to the right side because of the setbacks. And so, but you had this wide open area going back to the lake. And so one of the things you have to worry about with lake property is the flood line, or, what they call the lake line, which basically is like the restriction around the lake of saying you can't build past this point. And so we were able to like design a plan originally, go all the way up to that point, and was a little bigger, gave me some room to work around with things, and it was definitely a bigger addition. Well, fast forward to when they get the plans all put together and they go to city. Mind you, along the way, the plans expanded. So it was originally just the primary suite, and then he said, "Hey, what about putting a secret staircase and going upstairs and like making a she cave up here?" And originally, I thought, "Man, you're trying to do this within the attic space, of a first floor house, and that's extremely challenging with these low pitches." And so we circled back and forth a little bit, and I was like, "Man, if we go up, we're just going to have to build a whole second floor, like on this section." So it ended up being like a 1.5-story house.
Yeah.
Because it's only, 2-story on one side. It's very similar to my personal home in the sense that we built it over that side. And I was like, if you're going up, might as well put a, full bath and another bedroom up here. So it makes sense, right? It's not something that is challenging. And so we did all that. Well, we go to Bud ends up finally turning the cities in. And again, mind you, this is Gunbarrel City. This is like the wild, wild west. So he goes in, turns the plans in. It's like the plans examiner in that city is also the city inspector. So that's how its operation exists. And so needless to say, it was very challenging to get past the first phase. And Bud came back and he goes, "Hey, this guy's reading the ordinance this way and says there's a 10-foot setback behind the 537 line or behind the flood line. So therefore, we've got to push this thing back. Like our plans don't work." Well, mind you, the original footprint of the house on the left corner, we didn't talk about that yesterday, but the original corner of the house and the left side, if you go off of that concept, it's inside of that 10-foot setback. So it's like the original house was built this way, but and so sometimes these things happen. It's somebody's interpretation of what they think. And yes, there is an ordinance, right, that comes into play with interior lots. Well, sometimes people have a hard time to decipher the difference between a lakefront lot and an interior lot. So therefore, most interior lots do have a setback, on the back property line, right? And so anyways, this guy made us do a 10-foot setback from the lakefront line, and it's wide open to the lake. And so it was challenging. We were all upset about it, but we went back to the drawing board and we did everything we could to still make a good floor plan within the setback requirements. So we changed it up a little bit, kind of made things a little squished, but ultimately, I think we saw it yesterday and it's getting wrapped up. There's not any furniture in there yet or anything, but the spacing to me felt great and the views are amazing. Like, I mean, this is the homeowner wanted this inspired Four Seasons hotel feel. And so he's like, "I just want it to feel like I'm at the Four Seasons. I want very high-end finish out. I want a very posh feel. I want views for days, all these things." So you've seen it for the first time.
You definitely accomplished that. We'll just touch on a few of the design features and a lot of white oak. You had the main bedroom. You had your full wall of white oak stripping, and then you had a built-in bed that's sort of integrated into that wall, and then you have your side tables, which is really cool, very hotel feel. Yep. And then one way you had to work your space is that you didn't really have room for a walk-in closet. And so you walk into this bathroom and you have floor to ceiling white oak built-in cabinets. And the craftsmanship of that was amazing because all the lines are, and then they matched the grains, and you had these really streamlined, sleek looking handles. And then they had done the, what do they call it on the actual vanity where they have the scalloped, like almost a scalloped fronts of white oak. Yep. And they just had some custom cabinetry in there and some electric stuff where you could plug in your your curling iron and all this, and it goes in a specific bucket and all. Like they thought through all this, and then they actually thought through a kind of a tornado, kind of a hidden tornado room, which was really, really neat to see. And then you have, views of the ocean right there. So you wake up in this really cool hotel feel, or the ocean, the lake,
the ocean of Texas.
Yeah. You wake up in this hotel feeling thing, and you see the lake. Ocean. Well, then you go upstairs, and that room is awesome. And y'all had thought maybe it would be a bunk room eventually for the grandkids or something. It's like, yeah, it's, I don't really care. She's going to just work up here. This is what she wants, her space. And so you kind of built in kind of wet bar, coffee area, wine area. And the most interesting thing about that whole space, blessings to all the architecture and design, but it has this very cathedral kind of lofted, A-frame ceiling. Yep. And the wallpaper they pick, it's hard to even describe it as wallpaper, because really what it is like super, super thin veneer. It's like white oak, and then maybe a stained white oak that's black. So it has this tribal kind of Fiji-ish maybe feel, because it does look natural wood with stained black wood. We'll have to put a picture up because it's hard to, but you feel it and you're like, wait, this is real wood. Like these are actual pieces. This is grained wood, but they rolled it on like wallpaper. And so but it strikes you when you walk up there, like, wow, that's all you can.
It's bold. It's very bold.
But I liked it. I mean, it was really funky. And
to me, it's a little much for the space, because I think that your wow factor, and this goes back to just kind of understanding some architectural design and mid-century design and, things like that, where, views are a huge factor, right? Especially with the lakefront property. So it somewhat takes away, even though the views are amazing and the space of the windows are gigantic, it somewhat takes away from the design. Like you walk up and you walk in the door and it's just, loud in your face.
Very loud. And you can tell some of the art that they're going to do is real bright color, kind of graffiti-ish art, which I also think is interesting. I really actually liked it. And maybe if it was a hotel and you're like, look, you're here to see the lake and this is what it's about, but if you're living there and you want it to be your space and interesting, I don't know. I kind of liked it, but yeah, great job. I think it turned out really well.
Yeah. I think they'll be happy with it altogether. And that's the challenging part sometimes with, from an architectural design standpoint, right? Like there's so many times we talk about a fix and flip, right? And a fix and flip, I'm taking that project from the beginning as is to, the renovation of the space, to all the elements, to the cabinet designs, et cetera. And then on forward to, paint colors, et cetera. And then letting the stager come in and doing their thing, right? And it usually complements the whole style in general. When you do a project like this, hire this designer, and it's always kind of one of those things when you do a full rendering and you do everything in 3D, and we go back and forth with the homeowner and come up with a whole concept. The idea is that, and I think one of the only projects that's really turned out this way was probably the one I controlled for Shady Hill with Aaron, right? Mm-hmm. Where the end result looks like the renderings. Mm-hmm. And that's probably just because it was, up to me to kind of follow that all the way through. And so sometimes, you have this vision and this idea of what we render in schematics and everything else. And then, in this case, you've got the builder makes some different choices along the way. And then you have the, third-party designer that they hire that comes in and makes their choices along with the homeowner. And, and again, it's meant to kind of give you a palette. But I will tell you from the builder's standpoint, when you do that and you deviate from the original plan, it makes things go a lot longer, in the process, right? Versus having it very streamlined and very organized to be in a timely manner. We're creeping up on almost 2 years from the time that I originally walked this house. So,
and I think at some point they get decision fatigue, and then you're just ready to be done with the project, and you're like, yeah, we're not changed. Let's just go. Let's just do this. Yeah. We've made enough.
But
like, let's just finish. But
cool house,
really cool. Loved it.
Makes perfect sense for a lake. So
Yeah. And according to the designer, there was just two random guys walking through the house yesterday because she thought we had zero to do with any. I mean, I did have zero to do with. She was
did not
accurate on
even,
that.
but she did not even say hi.
Didn't say hi. Didn't be like, oh, what did y'all do? Oh, this is really cool. Nothing. I mean, like we were in the way. She was very positive about her passive aggressiveness. She seemed really happy about it. And she seemed like a chipper person, but we were definitely in her way and had nothing to do with what was going on there. So that was really funny. Okay.
All right.
Quickly, we did go by a listing of mine that's going to come online hopefully soon. It's a flipper out of Houston. It's going to put a house up. So we went and walked that. And I actually have a really cool opportunity. I'm going to a meeting this morning, so we're a little bit rushed. I'm going to a meeting and meeting with a company that's a very large landlord, property management group all over the United States, and their footprint in Dallas is growing. And I'm going to become their go-to leasing agent for a while. They don't have an in-house leasing agent. And so I'm going to get to do that. So we're going to talk a little bit about rentals here in a little bit in our third segment. But before we do, we have not done this in a few weeks. Why don't we talk about a little bit of a market update? So we're going to be doing the market updates once a month or so. Really funny yesterday. I was talking to a friend, Cody, from Bootstrap Builders, and he's like, "Oh man, I really like it when you talk market update." I'm like, "Well, we're trying, we're cutting it back." He's like, "Well, that's about right. Once a month seems about right." So, so let's look at our overall trends here. Let's see. I know we have a lot of price decreases, 39.62 in the last 7 days, and we have.
You know what? I mean, we've seen this before. And I think the last time we did this a month ago, it had kind of evened out. So it's just kind of, it's a tricky market. We're seeing stuff go on, and you kind of test the waters, and then. We've talked about this a lot in the last couple of weeks. Price points have a lot to do with it. And it would be interesting to kind of figure out, to dive into that deeper and say, okay, and the price decreases, what's the average price point that this is going on in, to really dissect it and kind of go, okay, where is the price point of the market really like suffering? And my thought is
do that somehow, but maybe I can work on that where it's actually, I can maybe find what the average drop is, or where it's happening. Is it like at the super high end stuff? Is it in the lower end stuff? That's a good point.
You could probably, just click on that and organize it. And then,
sometimes it won't let me run reports if it's a huge number, and this is 3,900. So I'd have to go through it and really kind of
problem.
Spend some time. But yeah, that's a good point. We could try to find what part of the average price, the average home price right now is around $440 in DFW. I will show you this number here, which is an all-time, well, not all-time high, but I think it's probably an all-time high for our MLS. And we made this point that our MLS is growing. We do pick up different areas and different, obviously people are growing. They're coming to DFW. The population is growing. And so it's not like it's just stagnant. We only have this many areas for our MLS, and we only have this many people. And so the idea that there's more houses for sale is this huge indicator. But all those things being said, is we do have more houses for sale now than we have in the last 10 years. We have 50,722. And when we look back at the high, which is what I can see is back in 2019, units wise, was 40,400. We do have some flaws in our MLS statistics, because sometimes we'll get a report from our office that they are a little bit off, but there's really no way to argue this. I mean, maybe we're off some percentage points, but 50,000, and then at one point we were at 40 or maybe 44. We're well above on inventory than what we have had before. Month supply, we are at 5.3. We've always said that 6 months is a balanced market, but everyone that you would talk to right now would say that this is a buyer's market. And so you can definitely feel that our house is still for sale. We've had one real price drop, one slight one just to get bumped back up on the reports, but we're creeping up on 40 days. Average is 60. In our area, our actually average is 45. But
look at that, looks like a heartbeat.
Yeah. Well, this is seasonal. New listings, you're going to be seasonal, and so it's definitely going to have this like up and down, up and down, up and down. Now you look at this one here, so if you were in June of 24, 25, that's when the inventory starts dropping. So we're in the period of time in summer where we have a natural drop, and it goes that way for the rest of the year. So we should have hit our peak for new listings now. And in April, it shows that we had 20,287 new listings, and it should have a drop, and it may be a precipitous drop. If people are scared of putting their house on the market, they may just be waiting. Now, if you believe Warren Buffett and you think that fall will be our real spring and fall will be a very heavy market because he's predicting interest rate drops. Of course, all of this being said is if we start, some sort of geopolitical issue that really affects markets and oil markets and everything that's going over in the Middle East, you have zero idea about how all this is going to be affected. So, you just kind of can guess and do the best you can. So, so shows depending, this is one that we always look at. It's about the same, 12, 13. It's just basically it's taking longer to get these shows depending, shows, so is it taking you 3 months to get 13 shows, or is it going to take you 2 weeks? And you have a house like Montego that went very fast, and you have a house like me, and I think we're at 15 official showings, and one of those was a repeat. So I think we're at 14 official showings. And so we're right there around average.
Well, and you did have an offer. I mean, so, you had
offer.
about 8 to 10 offers before 8 to 10 showings before you got your first offer.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you weren't able to come to a happy medium, with the first set. And so, I mean, to mention that, you did get an offer.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
It didn't work out. So, now you're back to it. I mean, your situation seems very similar to, what I was dealing with in Aubrey last year, where it was like, man, it was just kind of trickled in showings, and, and you're in a great area. It's really, I think yours is kind of that weird price point where, it's a second time home. And in fact, the first people looking at your house were first time home buyers, surprisingly enough, at the price point that they were in. So,
it was odd. So according to the let's see, what is this, Market Watch? These are the top 10 sellers markets and buyers markets. And so the top 10 buyers markets in the country, we will expand our topic today because there is one Texas town on this list. The top 10 biggest buyers markets where people are really having a hard time selling. Number one, Miami, Florida. There are 197% more sellers versus buyers. There's 21,000 sellers versus 7,000 buyers. Lord of mercy.
Insurance. I mean, that's the biggest thing I'm hearing with Florida is insurance.
Well, West Palm Beach is not any better, 182% more. Fort Lauderdale, 173. This does reek of the 2007 thing where Florida was like just crashed.
Yeah.
Austin is fourth on the list. That's the Texas town that was in this report. There are 17,386 sellers and 7,000 buyers. 124% more sellers versus buyers. Medium home prices, 433. Incredible. And then you have Jacksonville, Florida, Tampa, Florida, and then you have Phoenix at number 7, Las Vegas at number 8, Orlando at number 9, and then Nashville 10. So if you look at Nashville, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Austin, those are always real hot markets, very high, very low. And then Florida also follows that trend. Unfortunately for us, it does seem that we're the market that has a lagging, this was kind of like a lagging indicator for us where we will see this type of thing a couple months, 6 months or so afterwards. That's kind of my feel, is that we don't go high or low, but these towns feel it first and then we get it. But just to give you a different perspective, the best sellers markets, number one, Newark, New Jersey. There's actually 47% more sellers than buyers, almost twice as many buyers. Then you have another Nassau County, New York. You have a Pennsylvania County, Cleveland, Ohio, another New Jersey, New Brunswick, Providence, Rhode Island, Baltimore, Maryland, Warren, Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and then New York, New York.
Wow.
It's almost an even market there in New York, which
wow.
They actually just passed a law that you have to hire your leasing agent broker. There are no more sellers paying brokers, evidently, as a leasing agent. This is a new rule there. I did not pull up that article, but I did see that. So, all right, why don't we get into a little bit of news?
Let's do it.
So we will touch on a few local stories and then we have one national story. I thought this was interesting. New developer, according to Dallas Morning News, new developer plans thousands of homes in fastest growing DFW County. Well, roughly 3,400 homes are planned for the site in Terrell. So right in the town, you're buying a new commercial building.
Woohoo.
They're building a huge new neighborhood, which is really cool. They've got, it's like a multi-use. They've got the apartments and they got the shopping. And I don't know, it'd be interesting to know how big Castle Hills is, just as reference, because they have townhomes. They don't have apartments in the development, but right next to it. And they also have all the shopping. And so I would be interested, I wonder, is that a 3,400 home development as well? But what I thought was crazy is that this thing out in Terrell, it says Plano-based Main Square Development plans to build its Terra Nova development on more than 1,500 acres, 3,400 single-family homes, 1,200 apartments, 261 fourplexes. And this is the very first project this company has ever done. That's what it says.
Well, oh, wow. Okay.
He's like, what? That's a huge project. I was like,
yeah,
I flipped a house with a $12,000 countertop budget when I wanted to jump in. And this guy, obviously they have a ton of funding, but this,
well, and it could be a new company formed too. So
yeah,
surely there's people with experience.
Yeah. The principal they talked about was actually a guy who worked in like zoning and planning and just knows a lot. Obviously there's more to it. When you can float, they said it's going to take 16 years to build out, and they're going to invest like $150 million in infrastructure and parks and trails.
Okay.
So I was like, good grief, it's a huge project.
See where it's at in Terrell.
Yeah, Terra Nova Village. I'm not familiar with cross streets over there, but yeah, find out where that is, because that's got to be great for the town and for people who own small little commercial buildings downtown. So I thought that was a good sign for you. I have never been. Have you ever been to the Longhorn Ballroom?
I believe I've been there one time.
Yeah. I guess they have some small concerts there. They actually had a picture of Jub Jam, which is the Ticket does a concert every year, and I've been to Jub Jam before, and it wasn't at Longhorn, but normally it's a 2,500 person concert or something like that. If I had to guess, maybe this one's 1,000 seat, but I want to say that we went to a murder mystery type dinner. Okay. Right? Yes. And I know then this is where we went.
Yeah.
I've been here one time for a murder mystery dinner.
Okay.
With some friends, and it was fun, what do you mean? Yeah, it was where they have actors and they're bringing you around your food, and everyone has kind of a role to play, and they pick people from the crowd, and it was cool. But I guess they're putting a lot of money into it. It looks like it's been there a long time, and they're really going after the music scene and movie. It could be a movie set. There's enough space there to make it sort of this video movie set. They're going to be doing kind of a monthly or weekly rental space for musicians. They have a few people already, renting from them, doing audio, film, post-production work. It says they're really gearing towards that. But looking through the pictures of this place, they've had some legends come through there playing, and I think it's kind of a staple of that area, kind of the downtown scene, you know. And then one big thing that's coming to Richardson, AT&T is expanding their footprint there. They just leased they'll occupy 7 floors of a 16-story building, 412,000 square feet. They're almost doubling their employee number here in Dallas. And they're moving from across the street. That Real Page building, I think, is where they're I think it's right over there is where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So yeah, we know right where that is, right through 75, and we spend a lot of time on that little section. So yeah, AT&T, they say that office space is coming back. A lot of the really high end stuff is renting at very good rates. And so I don't know what is up with my intranet. Okay, last news story here, and then we'll get to our third section. According to WRE News, no idea, but seems like a nice little publication. Home flipping profits down in Q1. And I wanted to bounce this off of you and see if these numbers jive with what you're doing. So it says a total of 67,394 single-family homes and condos were flipped during the first quarter of this year. This is nationwide. This represents 8.3 of all home sales, up from 7.4 last year. From the previous quarter. So there's more from the fourth quarter of last year, but it's down year over year. So not as many flipped homes year over year, but is up seasonally. It does say that the nationwide total of flipped residences marked the lowest number since 2018. So it says the typical investor paid $260,000 for a home they flipped in the first quarter and sold for $325,000. Okay. That doesn't. So the delta on that is $65,000.
Yeah. So they were pretty light rehabs.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe these are the people you're competing against. The people that are
right.
We'll just spray everything white and, throw some bushes
it's
in the
nationwide.
Front.
So
nationwide, and condos.
Plug it in.
Condos go in there. Yeah. The typical flipped home netting 25% return on investment before expenses. Well, I would say that's not net, but before expenses turns out when you flip a house, expenses are a pretty important part of the math equation.
So basically saying they bought it at 75 cents on the dollar.
Okay.
So, but
they netted a 25% return before they paid anything. So, wow.
Okay. All right.
So gross profits on a typical flipped home, the difference between the median purchase were down 65,000 from 70,000. Anyway,
who wrote this article?
This is some guy named
I don't
Phil
think they flip homes.
with WRE News. Yeah. So I just thought it was interesting that overall, I wouldn't have guessed that 67,000 homes were flipped. Just there's a lot of flippers.
It's kind of wild. Yeah. When you think about it,
we need to find some of those.
And flips have been going on for a long time.
Oh,
this
yeah,
is not a new thing, right? It's been happening for decades. With this concept that it's just, it's built up demand and luster over the years with, shows like HGTV and stuff like that. Makes it look very appealing.
Very fun.
Yeah.
I
will say, our numbers are up, for us, compared to last year. So we're doing well. And I'm definitely getting a lot more leads. With sellers, considering this route in this current market versus what we were dealing with before. You walked a house with me last week. It was actually big box wholesaler had it. We walked it. I saw some stickers on the toilets and things like that. And I was like, man, this thing smells like a foreclosure. It's been a while since I've seen this. And sure enough, it was set for foreclosing steps on July 1st. So, which is this next week coming Tuesday. So, it's the first Tuesday of every month. And, it was set for closing then. So unfortunately it was one that we actually won the bid on. We bid on this property well underneath their asking price. And then when we were asked to show up to the showing, we said, no, I don't want to compete. This is my number. And then they went to showing, and about an hour after the showings, they called me and said, "Hey, we didn't sell it, so can you look at it and ink this thing?" So we showed up and looked at it, and it would work. It inked, but unfortunately, we were not able to make the timing work specifically this fast of a close and be able to do what we had to do. So it didn't work out for us. Hopefully, somebody else got it, not too much lower than us, so everybody's happy. But we're starting to see it. I mean, we knew this was coming. If you go back to our interview with Matt Aycock, he had a lot to say about this and things going this direction. And we're starting to see this happen. So stay tuned. But what that means for people like us is that there's a lot more opportunity in the market.
Yep.
If you know what you're doing and you have your cash ready and available, or you have a good bank relationship that's solid, that the bank trusts you and you've got a track history with them, there's good opportunity here going forward.
Yep. Stay tuned, and we will help you figure out how to flip a house. I would love to do one again, but buying it right and with a eye on the sale in 3 or 4 months and hedging low is the key. I would say that that's very important. So last segment here. So as I said, I will be doing more leases. I have one that I'm working up in Little Elm right now for an agent out of our office. I am hoping to pick up, I think right now they have 1 on the market and 3 coming to market. So here soon, I'm hoping I have 4 of my own listings, and we'll see. But we will work on this. But I was looking at the lease market, and I wanted to get your feedback on this. So check out this house.
Yeah,
this is a competitor of Aaron's. Okay, so this is over in Richardson. I would have to look at the map to know exactly where this is.
I know where it is.
You know where this is?
Yeah, I know this house very well.
Did you design this house?
I did not.
Okay, well, so it's for sale and for lease. So I will give. So this house, this neighborhood.
Yep.
So I'll give you a guess. It's for sale. How much do you think this house is for sale for? It's 4-bed, 5-bath, 4,300 square feet, Canyon Creek.
1.7, 1.8,
1.8.9 or something like that. 1.89. Okay. We estimated Aaron's house was roughly in the 1.4 range. Mm-hmm. I would, as we click through these pictures, I would pick Aaron's house 9 days a week. This is a pretty house, but for the price,
this is a new build though too.
Yeah, well,
so this is actually a new construction.
Okay, doesn't impress me. I would rather Aaron's house. I would like that renovation. I mean, it's cool. Like it's not that they did a bad job, but just from a design and a cost.
Yeah.
Hey, would I rather spend money here or there?
If you haven't scrolled down to see who owns this house, you would.
I do know. Okay.
Yeah, I mean they do great work.
They do good work. I just would pick Aaron's house. Yeah. So.
And it's interesting because I believe this builder, and we know this guy, he moved into the house. They had it up for sale and had something fall out. And I know he's done this before, so it's not, the dumbest thing in the world. I mean, and fortunately he's been in a position to be able to do this to where he'll move his family into these properties, if he can't sell them, and he'll kind of ride the wave of the market.
Yeah.
And enjoy the home in the meantime,
Yeah, because we walked another one over in that area he was kind of doing that with.
Mm-hmm.
I do really like this. We've talked about this, doing the kind of bar area, illuminated kitchen or coffee area, really highlighting that more in the kitchen. That's really cool. I really do like that. And then I love this sink here. So they did an all black bathroom, and they have this wall mounted sink, which we've talked about the difficulty of that. And this picture is kind of this art picture. For those playing at home, 2212 Ridgecrest Drive. So there's some really neat things about this house. Nothing wrong with it. But for $400,000 more, I would just probably go with the renovation of Aaron, and specifically because it has a pool. Like this doesn't have a pool. Aaron's has a pool. Now I will say I love this tile. I hope that maybe at some point you decide to use this tile.
Well, we kind of did. I mean, it was similar.
Yeah, the weave one. Yeah, not weave, but the
we did that
angular.
at Alameda. The one that had
they have the terrazzo tile, which is also very cool.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with this house except for just for me for the value. But I'm speaking of this house from a rental perspective because not only are they trying to sell it, they're trying to rent it. So see this primary shower, pretty cool, arched entry, almost like a terracotta herringbone.
Their designers do a great job.
Oh yeah, they do. They have this Spanish feel. There's nothing wrong with the design. They're always on point, and they actually spend a lot of money on finish out. They source from places that you don't.
Well, their tile, I mean, they spend a lot of money on tile. In fact, their tile that they use a lot, they turn me on to the place where they buy it. So
if you had to guess what this would rent for, and I'm thinking, I try to see it. I don't see that it's furnished. It may be furnished, but I don't think it is. Wild guess.
Know. Yeah, I mean, they might have it either or. I mean, rent. As far as where they would want to be on this thing, I'd say probably close to $8,000 a month.
Let's go with 15. 15,000. Okay. But it is for sale, so I don't know who what their business
scroll down
model
and see if it's finished, if it's furnished, if they're offering that. Because I mean, that was the goal when we talk about Canyon Creek, when we talk about midterm rentals. I mean, that was the idea and the goal. With Aaron's property, and he's getting close to that. Mind you, one thing, just so you listeners out there, and he may have it. I don't know if this particular owner builder has this out there on the other platforms, but one thing you don't do is really put it out to the public eye in this sense. Like, I mean, you might get a tenant to bite through the MLS, but my experience has been that you've got to go one direction when you're trying to get that much rent for a furnished property.
Yeah, I don't see that it's furnished. Now, maybe they would negotiate something for that price, but it's not specifically saying. But I also, in fairness, I think that's the same language they're just using for their listing. They just brought it over to the rental. They're just I mean, who knows? But yeah. Cool because it's such a direct comparison in area wise, space wise, and look because it's newly renovated. But I think it just sort of hammers home. I think you guys killed it on that renovation and the design, and I hope Aaron's happy with all that. So
thank you.
But that made me think: what is the most expensive thing for sale for rent in Dallas? So.
Okay.
Here is a condo. It is a 6,000 square feet condo in Turtle Creek, in a building in the penthouse of Turtle Creek. I'll have to look and see how many bath and bed. This is a 3505 Turtle Creek Boulevard. I mean, super top end, 6,000, 6,600 square feet probably condo.
30,000 a month.
Well, you might offend them with that offer.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So the thing about this is this is newly renovated. And I thought maybe this is a trend because this has to be intentional. This is not, we cheaped out on the renovation. They called this as Calcutta stone in the kitchen, but I don't know. What do you call that? 1 cm? Like it's pretty thin. Like it's, the trend forever was like this super thick, almost like where you would bevel it and you would like put a 3-inch. Looks like
there's an edge on there. I can't tell with the shadow. But.
I just thought that was. I mean, maybe this is what's in right now. It's like really thin countertop, but because it's not a cost issue, I don't think with this place. But amazing views, really odd spacing with the vanity here. I don't like it's. Just
why do you have so much open space?
Really weird spacing with a hall bath vanity. But yes, if you want to live here and have amazing views of DFW, you will have to shell out $45,000 a month. And that's a holy cow. That's a 4-bed, 6-bath, 6,000 square foot house or
I mean, I
condo.
know that's a prestigious like condo, so you probably get all the amenities. I mean, it's like living in a hotel, but
Yeah,
still.
it says there's no HOA, which is kind of maybe it just all is all
Well,
encompassing.
yeah,
Maybe
well,
that comes with the rent. Oh, okay, so they pay it.
rental.
They pay it. They
Yeah,
pay it.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and then I've got a couple more here, and we'll wrap up. But so that at least you get a view. There's a few on here that I'm like, I don't know if I'm going with this one. So this one's 40,000 a month on a Royal, 6,500 square feet, and this is an okay house. It's very kind of old school Dallas, just
very
kind of
eclectic.
very eclectic. This one's 4730 Royal Lane, 4730 Royal Lane. These designers and stagers that come in here and do these furniture in a lot of these high end homes. I mean, there's no telling where they source this furniture from, but it is insanely expensive. It's all custom. It's not Nebraska Furniture Mart. I will tell you that. And these chandeliers with the bubble lights, really interesting. But for 40,000 a month, I don't know. What really caught two things caught my eye: the kids' bedroom, and they call it a sitting room. This is all custom made toys. They have this toy room, and these are all like handmade toys. But then you go out to the pool, and I don't know. I mean, just if you're going to be spending 40,000 a month, it's kind of a pool.
Oh, yeah.
Needs to be refinished.
It's a little blah. Yeah.
Yeah, you just have the very old school.
Is it on a golf course?
It's on Royal. I don't know. It doesn't say. I mean, I guess we
might
can
back up to that.
Here.
To the golf course.
No, it actually faces Royal.
Interesting.
You're on Royal. Now, you're one block over from Straight Lane. So you're in a very nice area. Yeah. Very nice area. Then the last one that I wanted to look at was 4324 Cedar Brush. And they have dropped their price. They started at $54,000 a month.
Okay.
And now they're down to $39,500. So someone's going to get a huge bargain at this place. Wow. 4324 Cedar Brush Drive.
It's a good looking expansion though.
Yeah. So I like this blonde brick. 2023. I mean,
okay. Yeah. So they gave it kind of an old school.
Yeah. So 4-bed, 4-bath
elevation, but they built it new. Yeah. Because it kind of looks like an expansion. But
yeah, it really does actually. With especially this style here, you could the top
until you got to the front door, and I was like, oh no, that's new.
Yeah. So 2023 feels really neat. It has a lot of the high end feel. I like these exposed beams with the lights above it.
Yeah.
One problem we have in our place, we have some exposed beams that are cased in, they're fake, but these seem like they're collected from some architectural site somewhere, really cool old distressed ones, but they put LED lighting above it because ours are a little dark. And I do like the whole concept of the exposed beam, but it does stop light from traveling along the ceiling. And so when they lit those up from there, I thought that was pretty cool. Now in picture 8, 4324 Cedar Brush, the only thing I see as a physical therapist assistant that worked in home health for 10 years, this rug here needs some rug tape because someone will trip and break a hip. This is a hazard right here. That the lip of that linen rug is sticking up, and that is just a fall waiting to happen. That's a hip surgery and a visit from your therapist once a week for a while. That's what's going to happen right there. But I like this house a lot. Beautiful kitchen, very open. Interesting. They did the tile all along the backsplash, all along the back wall there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just like the design choices of this, but $39,500 a month to rent it out. But I would say if I'm going to spend that money, I like the feel of this one way more than the other one that was $40,000, and it has a pool.
Yeah, really nice backyard with turf.
Yeah, beautiful backyard. So this makes this one. I will say, when you consider these, this one is on Forest and Midway.
Okay.
Preston.
Yeah, Preston Hollow as well.
Yeah. So I will say, when you're considering. This makes the Castro rental over in Richardson look like a great deal. $15,000. I mean, you have to pay 3 times more. You're going to go to what, 10 minutes south? It's Preston Hollow.
But there's such a stigma about properties north of 635.
Yeah, Canyon Creek's beautiful. So yeah, so it's all how you frame it. But anyway, I just want to look at the state of the rental market. I will not be renting one of these today. I think we're over in Fort Worth at the $1,500 a month range or something like that. I think there is one in Dallas that's going for $5,000. I think that's one of their new ones that they're bringing on. But that being said, I've got to get down there and talk with them and get loaded up on some paperwork and all that. I'm excited about that. So if you have not, please like and subscribe on our Facebook pages, our Instagram pages. We have a Facebook page for the podcast now where we are steady uploading things on YouTube. You can find a lot of our podcasts on YouTube now. And please connect with us. Send us a message. Tell us what you like, don't like. What segment you'd like us to do again or never again. And we would do everything we can to appease our adoring fans. But until next time, we hope you have a great day.